All right, welcome back to the Nueva Vida Group podcast. We are a privately owned company that advises high net worth clients on acquisition, project management, and developments globally. This is a big week, because we're going to be looking at the forthcoming budget and discuss the potential impacts it has.
I think these things are quite momentous, and sometimes budgets sort of come and go, and they don't have a lot of impact. But I think certainly this particular budget feels like it will have an impact. We issued a report exclusively to our private clients last week, didn't we? Which was really based on our views and thoughts on the budget and some data that's sort of backing up where people are relocating to. And the three things that were sort of most concerning at that time we issued the report was a potential mansion tax, which would basically tax homes over a certain value, increased income taxes, so personal, corporation taxes, and then a 20% exit tax, which seemed to shock the market. And I mean, there seems to be a lot of negative feedback about that. But if that came into place, I think there would be quite a momentum shift. So certainly a nerve-wracking time. One of the things that I've found interesting about speaking to clients after we issued that report was, a lot of them reminded me that investors and institutional investors, they're not thinking about the next 3 or 4 years, they're just thinking about the next 10, 15 years. So whilst there's such a lack of confidence and stability now in the Labour government, once the budget settles down, it's not going to suddenly feel all calm and relaxed for investors. They're going to be worried about what happens when Labour go in 3 or 4 years' time. So certainly what's happening now is going to have a long-term impact. And I think that is going to drive more and more UK-based millionaires and high net worth clients to thinking about relocating overseas.
Yeah, I mean, the fascinating thing is, the numbers that are coming up about the British immigration surge. So I'll just read out a few stats. So this is this was updated 5 days ago, but 257,000 Brits left the UK last year. And that's 3 times higher than the previous estimate, which was 77,000.
It's a shocking number.
So that's compelling. And and then the UK is expected to lose 16,500 millionaires this year. One of the largest millionaire outflows globally. So some pretty daunting headlines. I mean, obviously you need to take that with a pinch of salt, but if all the big, press releases and articles are hemming around that number, then, there obviously is a massive exit.
I think the other thing as well,
it is daunting.
Think it's just about tax. But speaking to our clients, we see this within our business every day. So we're having these conversations daily with clients and their advisors. It isn't just about tax. I think that's something people completely forget. I think most successful people in the UK are looking to put back in. They're looking to contribute. They're job creators for a start. Most people that are leaving are job creators. So they're looking to put back in. What they want is a fairer society, and a society where things like legal immigration is tackled. Healthcare gets back to where it used to be, a better healthcare system, job stability, investment, that long-term investment sentiment that we've already discussed. So I don't think it's just about tax. I think people completely sort of use that as one angle, but I don't think it is.
Quality of life. It's, all across the UK, there is a negative kind of feeling with everything, with every element, just like safety, schools, people like London, it's a sorry state at the moment. And, a lot of people, don't go to major cities anymore, or, are moving out of the, major cities. And
I think some of the
real
data
concern
about where people are moving to is really fascinating. So, we do get a significant amount of inquiries about relocation to the UAE. And, there's a lot of good reason to relocate there. Better lifestyle, but also the actual process is simpler than Europe in lots of ways, and quicker. But interestingly, some data sort of states that UAE isn't actually the dream destination that people are relocating to. So, Ireland, 3.2% of immigration, New Zealand, 3.8%, UAE, 4%, then Germany, 5.5%, Italy, 6.7%. And now we're getting into the double digits. So France, 10.1%, Australia, 11.2%. USA 13.6%, which I think was really interesting. And then the biggest number of them all was Spain at 14.1%, which is the market we're involved in all day, every day. And so clearly there's a lot of options out there for people to relocate to. A lot, a lot of great choices, a lot of better lifestyles, fairer tax systems. And, I think this budget is only going to increase those numbers.
I can absolutely see the benefits of the UAE being in there. And I'll just give some headline figures. So 0% income tax, 0% capital gains tax, 0% wealth tax, 0% inheritance tax, and then everything else. So the quality of life, the atmosphere there is a thriving area. But I think it's no surprise why Europe, some of the major European cities are still very high on the list. It's because still very favourable tax solutions, but also you're a lot closer to home. A lot of these people, just because they're moving all across the world, doesn't mean they cut off contact or processes with the UK. So Spain, Portugal, they're 2.5 hours away.
I think that practical reason of being closer to the UK and having all of those lifestyle benefits, and in some cases are marginally fair, but in other cases a much more advantageous tax environment, they're making a no-brainer. I think
Yeah.
Dubai, especially, but the UAE in general, is certainly having its heyday. I mean, there's an amazing quality of homes being built now. Especially some of the big new developments are really impressive. But I think for uh, British people in general, the closer to home cities and countries are definitely more favourable. And we're seeing it every day in our business, aren't we? People that could move to the UAE, or they could move to the US, or
Yeah.
they could move anywhere else. Their first thought is somewhere close to home, whether it be Italy, Spain, Portugal. That's where they're sort of definitely leaning towards. Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting few days. I think the build up to the budget, everyone is quite nervous. But let's see what happens. We're going to record a special podcast straight after, aren't we, on Wednesday afternoon? So that'll be, I think that'll be a helpful resource for our
Yeah.
clients. And let's see what happens.
So in the meantime, if anyone's got any questions or queries or needs us to, want to have a chat with us, just send us an email at info@nuevavidagroup.com. We've also got that PDF that we generated a few weeks ago. So if anyone wants a copy of that, just send a note and we'll send it over. Thanks.